so we're talking Russian culture today, right? And I got to say, I stumbled upon this amazing website, howtorussia.com.
Oh, yeah.
It's got everything, history, language, you name it. But the real gem, their section on modern Russian film, it blew me away.
Yeah, that's a gold mine. You can learn so much about a country's soul through its films, anxieties, dreams.
Right, it's like instead of peeking through the Iron Curtain, we're peeking into their stories.
I like that.
So howtorussia.com, they've got so much on this. We had to distill it down for you. Get ready for the highlights of modern Russian cinema.
And to really grasp what's happening in their films and WA, we got to rewind a bit.
Totally, like you wouldn't jump into War and Peace without some context.
Exactly.
Russian film, it's been around longer than you think, late 1800s. But early 1900s, that's where things get interesting. Sergei Eisenstein, the OG master of montage.
Oh, absolutely.
Battleship Potemkin, that staircase scene, the way he uses the camera is like revolutionary.
His use of editing to create raw emotion, just brilliant. Filmmakers still study his work today.
Then, fast forward through the Soviet era, right? Film became a propaganda tool. But even then, some directors, sneaky as they were,
were walking a tightrope. But some of them, like Andrei Tarkovsky.
Oh, I know Tarkovsky.
His films visually stunning, deeply philosophical.
But also subtly criticizing the regime.
Exactly. Using sci-fi, dreamlike imagery to explore censorship, spiritual struggles, stuff the censors would shut down if it was too obvious.
Oh, clever. Then, boom, Soviet Union collapses. New voices erupt. No more restrictions. That's where modern Russian cinema really finds its footing. Bold, unafraid, ready to tackle the big questions.
And not just art house stuff either. These films are getting international recognition. HowToRussia.com talks about Andrei Zvyagintsev. They call him the moral compass of Russian film today.
Loveless, right? And that would stay to me for a while.
Loveless, absolutely. A couple going through a divorce, their son disappears, and you see their own emptiness reflected back at them. Nominated for an Oscar too, Best Foreign Language Film.
Wow. And then there's Kantemir Balagov. He's young, but already making waves. Beanpole, right? Set in post-war Leningrad.
Beanpole, yes. Hauntingly beautiful film. Two young women scored from the war, trying to rebuild their lives. It won him the Best Director award at Cannes.
See, this is what I love in Russian cinema. It's raw, it's real, but there's also this energy.
It's got that dark humor, that vibrancy, like Serebrennikov's work.
Oh, Serebrennikov. Didn't he do that film, The Student?
Yes. Visually stunning, full of energy, and always thought-provoking. Think like a more subversive Baz Luhrmann.
Okay, that's a great comparison. Because with The Student, he tackled religious extremism, but in this satirical, darkly funny way.
Exactly. These filmmakers, they're not just telling stories, they're starting conversations, making you confront uncomfortable truths.
Love that. Yeah, so we've got all these amazing directors. What about the common threads? HowToRussia.com pointed out some recurring themes in Russian film that really jumped out at me.
Right, themes that reflect Russia's own journey, grappling with its past, its future. And they do it with such emotional depth, it's hard to overstate, really. This theme of identity crisis. Imagine living through such massive upheaval, the Soviet Union collapsing, everything changing.
Yeah, how do you even process that?
Exactly. And that question, what does it mean to be Russian now? It comes up again and again, like in Zvyagintsev's Leviathan, this ordinary guy just crushed by the system.
That feeling of being powerless.
It's palpable in so many of these films, this weight of history, both personal and societal.
Totally. And it often plays out against this backdrop of like city life, raw and unfiltered. HowToRussia.com talked about this, how it's not the glamorous Russia you see in postcards.
Right, it's the crowded streets, the struggle for connection, and when you layer on top of that the whole clash of generations.
Oh yeah, talk about tension. It's like on one hand you have people who remember life under Soviet rule, and then
you have those who came of age after. Their values, their worldviews, totally different planets sometimes.
In these films, they don't shy away from that. In fact, HowToRussia.com pointed out how often these clashes happen within families.
Absolutely, it becomes very intimate, very personal. Beanpole by Balagov, that's a perfect example. You got those two young women struggling to rebuild their lives after the war.
And the older generation around them also trying to cope, trying to bridge that gap.
It's about trauma, about how history echoes through generations, but it also makes you think about these tensions in any society going through rapid change.
So true. Okay, but it's not just about generations clashing. HowToRussia.com also talked about gender roles, upending expectation.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Russia has traditional gender roles, like many places, but these films They challenge those norms in really interesting ways.
You see women taking charge, demanding agency.
Absolutely, like in Sarah Brennikov's Lido, set in the 80s Leningrad rock scene.
It's even rock music back then. That was subversive.
Totally. But there's this woman, Natalia, she's married to one of the musicians, but she's the one organizing everything, translating lyrics.
Wow, she's like the force behind the scenes.
She is, challenging those expectations of what a woman should be, especially in the time and place.
It's like these filmmakers are giving a voice to those who haven't always been heard.
And men, too. Masculinity is explored, questioned.
Oh, that's so important. Because it's not just about one gender or the other. It's about how those expectations affect everyone.
Right. And then, of course, we can't forget about the ever-present history shadow. It's like this inescapable force.
Totally. The Soviet past, the wars, the weight of expectation.
It seeps into everything. But what's amazing is how these filmmakers address it, sometimes subtly, sometimes head-on, often with dark humor.
It's like they're having this coded conversation with the audience.
Exactly. It's like they're speaking a whole other language, but you feel it. You understand it.
So powerful. And it's not just us saying that, right? These films are getting recognition on a global scale. Awards at Cannes, Venice, even Oscar noms.
It's true. For a while, Russian cinema to the outside world, it meant something very specific, right?
Yeah, like Eisenstein, Tarkovsky, maybe a war movie.
Right, very specific lens. But this new wave, they're changing the game. They're showing the world Russian cinema. It's diverse, it's bold.
And thanks to streaming, it's accessible. Anyone, anywhere can tap into these stories. It's amazing to think how many more are out there waiting to be told, you know.
It really is exciting. And what strikes me is, yes, these films are rooted in their context. Russian history, politics.
But they also tap into something universal.
Yeah.
That anxiety about who we are, where we fit in.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful because, yeah, these are Russian stories, but those anxieties, that search for connection, it's something we all experience.
It's like the more specific a story gets, the more universal it becomes.
So true. And if you're ready to dive into this world, I can't recommend howtorussia.com enough.
Seriously, they've got articles on the director's film recommendations.
It's your one-stop shop for Russian history, culture, on screen and off. A fantastic resource.
Couldn't agree more. So until next time, happy watching, everyone.